So there have been two things that have been bugging me throughout all of RWBY, just two questions that I've had. And one of them is, when does the RWBY Red trailer take place? And the other is, why is there a dragon on the map? And now, surprisingly, those two questions will actually be answered in this one video. And you wouldn't think that they'd be connected in some way, but, I found a way. But basically, what I want to talk about mainly in this video is, when does the RWBY Red trailer take place? Yeah, the one that showed RWBY just attacking a bunch of werewolves. They're not even Beowulfs, they're just straight up werewolves in front of her mother's grave. So we know, because of Monty, that the three other trailers, the white, black, and yellow, take place in the past. However, I don't believe anything has been mentioned about the red trailer, or I don't know, that's what I'm getting online. I've never been able to find an exact quote by Monty, but people have said that he said these things, and a few people are saying technically he didn't say that about the RWBY Red trailer, because what he actually said was that this was more of a weapon test. That's what the RWBY Red trailer was. It doesn't reflect RWBY's actual skill in the show, and that is as of season 1. So that's very interesting. Why make a trailer about a character that doesn't actually reflect who they are? Obviously, I should mention, in the past, like back when they made Volume 1 and those trailers, obviously it meant nothing. With there being new writers and just a new perspective on the show, all those things that were non-canon in the past can be canon now if they wanted to. So, just for the sake of it, let's say this takes place in the future. How do we know? So there's a few little details in this trailer that can help pinpoint us to say that this isn't the RWBY that we know yet, and one that takes place in the future. One of them being the weapon that she uses, the Crescent Rose. At first, I was going to point out, it has a new form where it's extended and whatever, but it turns out she used that for one scene in Season 3. So it's not because of the upgrades in Volume 7 the scythe can extend like that, it's just she did it once before, so that one probably 2-second scene ruined part of my theory. But there are other ways to tell. One of them being the gravity dust, which we have never seen RWBY use once, I think, throughout all of RWBY. We have seen the gravity dust be used in other locations and ways, I believe by Weiss, maybe. Maria, is that her name? The old lady, her little sides had it. And floating rock things, maybe even Atlas too, not too sure. But we've seen this gravity be used other places in the show, but never by RWBY outside of that trailer. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. And I don't really have to mention RWBY's skill. Honestly, this isn't really comparable to Volumes 1 to 6 RWBY. The fighting skills that she shows in this trailer are really only on par with the post-training Volume 7 RWBY. There's no way that she could have taken on that many Beowulfs at once alone, unless she had official Huntress training. So in terms of skill and advanced weaponry, thanks to probably Atlas, I'm sure that they have more dust available because, the Schnee Dust Company, and that's where RWBY will acquire her gravity dust and probably more dusts. All of this is because of Atlas. There's no real other place in the show that she'd be able to acquire gravity dust. We never see gravity dust used in Vale. So the whole how is kind of there. It's a stronger RWBY that's on par with our current level RWBY, using technology that would only be available at Atlas. And I know that's not really that strong of evidence, but we're not done. Let's talk about when and why this trailer takes place in the future. So Volume 7 leaves us off with the protagonists becoming criminals, and Salem comes by just to cause more chaos. Regardless of how they deal with Salem, they are eventually going to flee Atlas so then they don't end up going to jail. So I think moving to a different country should stop that, right? But this means they have 3 options. So, I have the map of Remnant, the world of Remnant right here. So, they have 3 options. Team RWBY is here, obviously, at Atlas. So they have 3 options to escape, 3 locations to go. They can either go back to Mistral, but we know that place isn't really the best place to hide, just because I'm pretty sure that's where they met Tyrion, and that's where the whole Volume 5 battle with Hazel and everything went down, so clearly Salem has that place kind of scouted out. Not insanely safe, not useful at all. They would just be putting themselves into a corner while Salem can surround them. Because at that point, once they leave the country, Atlas isn't a problem, it's Salem. So then they have two options from here. They can go to Vale or this island. I told you they'd connect. So in every other map, I believe this is official artwork, in every other map that we've seen, we've never seen it in this much detail, so colored. And finally, we get to see that this island, this continent, this whatever, is black. Which, I don't know why none of us have thought of this before, where the evil, scary, dragon-shaped country is, that's where Salem lives. I don't know if this is a huge revelation for anybody else, but it definitely is for me. I could be just stupid, but there's no other place Salem can live, right? We know that it's on Earth. She's able to travel to it just by walking, basically. And so this must be where she lives. Which means, they probably don't want to go to Salem's home, which now brings us down to 1. So they'll travel to Vale, probably stop off at Beacon Academy, stop off at the grave, which has to take place somewhere here-ish. The circle's getting bigger. It has to take place somewhere here, most likely near Beacon Academy, which is probably, I think, there. And then we'd be able to see the rest of some old faces and whatever, and it'd be a good time there, but it'd definitely be a serious time. We can see what happens after the fall of Beacon, how it's affected everybody, and I think that'd be a really cool place to see the story go. But there's also another reason why they'd go to Vale in the first place, and that is the relic. I believe the relic of choice. It's somewhere there. Some people have theories that the relic is Glenda, what's her name? Goodwitch. Some people have theories that it's her, and there's no real other theory. We don't know. But they'd go there for the relic. They'd hope to acquire the relic for themselves so Salem doesn't get it, which is why going to Mistral would not be a good idea, because they just let Salem get it. But then, after they've taken their stop at Vale, which I don't imagine will be very long, which is why I feel like they'd be in Vale in Season 9, because Season 9 is a very short season, supposedly. And I should say this, and I forget if I already have, but obviously RWBY would visit the grave at some point while they're there. That's why I think that they'd go to Vale. I don't know if that was clear. Clearly, at some point, they'd go there. RWBY would let her frustrations go because they lost a huge battle, maybe. And she thinks that, Mom, I failed you. I couldn't do anything. And I'm back at the place where I failed once more. I'm lost. And then she gets surrounded by Beowulfs and attacked. And then she fights them off because she's strong and she can do that now. But anyway, once they finish their time in Vale, they would then travel to Vacuo, and finish the series there, kind of. They'd go to Vacuo, get the Relic of Destruction there, and coincidentally, they're right at the mouth of the dragon, which they just hop over and fight Salem at her territory. So with all this being said, I feel like, I might as well say it, I feel like the series will end at around volume 12 to 13. Depending on how long they take to get to Vale and how long they spend at Vale, let's say 2 seasons, getting there and staying there, then about a season of travel, season at Vacuo, and then a season or 2 at Salem's place, or a season of Aftermath, I don't know. That's about 12-ish. It's about 12 to 13 seasons, give or take, depending on how long it takes. But anyway, that's just kind of saying when and where this where the RWBY Red trailer takes place. Obviously, they'd have to reanimate it. They'd have to change the outfit. We know it's just a concept, essentially, the RWBY Red trailer. So I feel like they could just bring it into the canon by changing RWBY's appearance, or they just let her go back into her original uniform. I'm sure they have spares back at Beacon. That makes sense, actually. I'm sure that her current uniform would be destroyed, so temporarily for an episode or 2, we get to see all the crew back in their OG uniforms before they get an even more updated version, maybe a modified version of the original, which would be super cool. And then when they're there, within those couple episodes, RWBY would fight and let her frustrations out, fight the Beowulfs, see her mother, and then go on their travels. So And I explained what the dragon is, which was it obvious? Was it obvious that Salem was there? Am I crazy? Am I stupid? I don't know. I feel like I'm stupid. It's so obvious that I feel like I should have known, but I didn't. You know? Anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that the RWBY Red trailer could take place in the future? I mean, it makes sense. Logically, they'd go to Vale next, and then Vacuo, and then Salem. Obviously, the how of everything, I don't know. But they're not going to stay at Atlas for the rest of their lives, for the rest of the series. They're not going to. We need to get to Vacuo, and going to Vale is the only way that they can get there. Because, again, they're not going to go through Salem's territory. That'd be dumb. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that I can make some more RWBY videos in the future. I'll just have to think of some. I have a couple ideas, but anyway, yeah, if you liked the video, please give it a like. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye!